Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome along to the SRF Weekend Warriors presented by RaceVoice as we head to Cheshire in the UK to Oulton Park live on Apex Racing TV for round 5. I'm Tim Cox and I'm joined by Jonathan Grabowski, who is not only running the cameras tonight but providing his knowledge and insight in commentary as well. Last week we headed to Barcelona where Aeronom made it 3 wins from 4. The only other driver to get a race victory this season so far is Marco Pinheiro, and that was at round 3 at the Red Bull Ring. Now, Jonathan, obviously we're racing on the international version of Oulton Park. It's without the chicanes of Britons and Hidslops, so obviously that's going to provide a really long back straight. We know these Ford spec racers just love slipstream. How large a part is that going to play today?
It's going to play a huge part, Tim, and welcome. Glad to join you today. It's going to play a huge part. As we know, a lot of these races are getting to slipstream battles in SRF. That's where a lot of passing happens, and this is a really fun track. I'm looking forward to watching it, and I think you're going to see the top guys, just like we normally do, kind of just drive off a little bit for the first half of the race, and then as we get into the pit stops, when things get shaken around, that's when we'll see guys move around and really see the slipstream take its effect.
Lovely. So obviously if you want to follow us on Twitter, we are at Apex Racing TV. Facebook is facebook.com/Apex Racing TV, and Instagram, search for Apex Racing TV and you will come across our sounds. Now, just to bring you up to date with the championships so far. So over in Spec 1, the top category within the SRF Weekend Warriors. Well, needless to say, with 3 wins from 4 so far this season, Aeronom is top of the championship right now with Naselli 61 points behind him, and Fritscher holding on to 3rd at the moment. And then across into Spec 2, the second of the categories, whilst Dantas is out in the front at the moment, but John Tustings, he's not far behind on 43 points. And it's quite a close battle, actually, to be fair. We've got Andalo, Gibson, McGuinness, Forster, Favini, and Brain, all within 70 points. And with the large chunk of the season to go, we're not even at the halfway stage yet. That could change very quickly and easily. And then across to the Masters, well, it's Tom Gradwell is heading that one up. 35 points clear of Stevie Ray in second, and then we've got Kurt Nunes in third. But Chris McCalmy, he's not far behind him, only 68 points behind the leader. Now, just waiting for last part of the session. We've had qualifying happen. Well, needless to say, that man Aeronom out on top with a 1:38.1. We'll bring you a grid when that happens. And it's going to be really tight, really great racing. Now, as we mentioned, the series is sponsored by RaceVoice. That provides you with with telemetry in terms of upshifts, downshifts, high engine temperatures, corner entry speeds, turn-in speed, exits, all that good stuff. And then, guys, to head across to. Now, the drivers are just heading out. They've got a 5-minute warm-up before we begin. This is a 40-minute race. And, Jonathan, we've seen great action here in this series all season on Apex Racing TV. And I don't doubt that tonight it's going to be no different.
The question I have is who can stop Aeronom? That's the real question. I didn't see Brennan Roseborough in the lineup, so that's a guy that can really, on pace, can really take on Aeronom. We saw Marco Pinero last time out, almost win that race, ran out of fuel. Those are the two guys that, I think on speed alone, can really keep up with Aeronom. So it's who's going to step up. Last season we saw guys like Bobby West step up. We saw Naselli step up. So who can really take the battle? The Aeronoms can be the question, not only for this race, but the rest of the season.
As always, we'd love to hear from you in chat. Love to know who you're supporting, who your favourite is for the race victories tonight here at Oulton Park. Just watch Jamie McGuinness there, and there's Marco Pinero, the only person to win a race so far this season, other than the mighty Aeronom, who's currently on 3 championship victories so far. And I think he's surely, Jonathan, he's got to be the favourite to make, if he continues this rich reign of form throughout the rest of the season, to make that 4 championships.
Yeah, he is a complete driver, Aeronom. We've talked about, I know we give him tons of love, and he has such tough competition, but he's complete in the sense he's quick, he knows how to manage his pit stops. He comes in with the game plan. When we've talked to him in the past, he's talked about, I had this strategy coming into the race, this is what I was planning on doing. He already has thought everything out prior to, and his ability to bounce back has been really good. We've seen races in the past where he gets caught up in someone's accident. I think he spun once, which was, very Alain Prost-like in the sense that it was a random occurrence that he spun, but the man is complete. The guy we're watching right now, Marco Pinero, I think he can compete with Aero on speed. It's just, I think the other parts like pitting and maybe some race strategy where he isn't as strong as Aero. But, let's see what happens as Pinero develops. He's come on quick over the past season and a half.
Now, Jonathan, I know you like a bit of trivia. Nick Brook,
I do.
It comes about roughly about halfway around the lap. Do you know how that got its name?
I heard this came up during a race with another series, and I believe it had to do with when they were constructing it or building it. They came across someone that was not properly dressed. I'm trying to sound it in the most PC way I can.
You're not far. You're not nearly there. Yeah. So A gentleman by the name of Blaster Bates, you need to be very careful of how you say that one, was brought in to remove an oak tree. And there is a lake down at Knickerbrook, and he saw, and obviously after he set off the explosion, there was a young couple who were being amorous with one another. Saw them, escaping, and as they moved away, in the brook was a pair of knickers, and that's how it got its name. As us in Britain, we do like our random corner names, and that's how that one came to be. It's one of the more interesting corner naming schemes you'll probably see within racing in general, to be fair.
I was just like, how can I word this, Tim, in a way that won't get anyone in trouble, it won't get us kicked off YouTube? But I'd heard that on a previous race about a few weeks ago. So you guys have some interesting names over there for your corners, but we have some weird ones in the US as well.
It's always interesting. I mean, another one, is this over at Snetterton. There's a corner there called Bomb Hole, which is literally, it's only called that because there's a crater in the ground there, which was caused by a bomb, and it's just as literal as that.
Isn't there? Trying to, don't we have a Duffers or a Duffus corner somewhere? I want to say, is it Knock Hill? It almost sounds like it almost looks like it says Doofus Corner.
Yes, I think that is Knock Hill off the top of my head. Yeah, we've got some rather unique names. So as the session's clicked over, let's bring you up your grids. Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, Aeronom is on pole with Bobby West alongside for company. There's Marco Pinero, the only other driver to take a risk victory this season, is on the second row with David Bone for company. Then we've got the first of Prospect 2 drivers. It's Dan Tass, and he's got Bradshaw alongside for company. Then it's Mayer and Chris Murakami, the highest qualifiers of the Masters drivers. Then it's Fuller and Campbell. Then we've got Bentham and McGill on the 6th row of the grid. Then John Payne has Kurt Nunes for company. Sancinelli has Favini, Antonio Race, and Yuri Cox are alongside in 17th and 18th. Then it's John Tusting and Steve Elson. Tom Gradwell from Masters has Peter Mirasek in 22nd for company. Then it's Ken Batley and Paolo Brame, 23rd and 24th. Then it's Forster and McGuinness, Gibson, Burkitt, Jackson, Butenga, Cantor, Carter, Luero, Stevie Ray, the series organizer, Darren Kern and Adrian in 35th and 36th. Then we've got Vogel and Logan in 37th, 38th. Jin and Kamara rounding out your grid. You see the drivers just heading off behind the Porsche safety car.
We already have issues in the back.
We've already got a few, a bit of contact and a few issues in the background there. So drama already before we've even got to the green flag. This doesn't look too clever right now. But here we go. Let's get ready because we're heading across the line. And round 5 of the SRF Weekend Warriors is go. And wow, what a start from Aeronome, commanding that first place and getting ahead of Bobby West to the apex. Then it's Pinero's got away well. He's in 3rd with Bohm. So the top 4 remain as they were. And Dantas is there in 5th.
I want to try to figure out what happened there. So let's take a look. I believe we may have a replay here. So I know Foster was back there. It looked like, did everybody just get bunched up? I don't think everybody was paying attention to where they were going, Tim.
No, and that's Forster in incredibly bad shape there. His car missing the front 2 wheels there, completely destroyed the front suspension. They say he has headed to the pits. Likewise, Burkitt, McGuinness, and Kamara all caught up in that incident, and they are in the pits already. Not the best start for them, but talking a good start. Here's Aeronome out in front right now with Pinero just tucked up behind, not far behind him in 2nd place. But right now, this a battle for third place. It's Bone versus Dantas versus Bentham. As they now come down towards Lodge Corner for the first time under race conditions, set up really close behind one another. So the short run up the hill through Dearly. So you now head down to De Old Hall Corner as we ride on board with Evande Dantas. You see the gearbox looming. It's got a big target on the back of it as David Bohm, as Dantas chases him down hard here as they come down through Cascades and then begin the long run along Lakeside. However, just looking out in front, Dantas not getting too... Sorry, Panera getting not far from known, but we've got 3 wide action.
Look at this!
Here.
This is not going to go good!
Oh!
No!
Big contact.
Oh!
Wow. So they spill out across, that's Bradshaw, across the track as everyone else. Can they take evasive action?
Oh.
Just managed to take the car to the pits in time. Otherwise, that looked like it was going to be another big accident. And wow, already drama here, and we've not even done 2 laps, Jonathan.
We have carnage everywhere, and I was not expecting carnage. We usually don't get this in SRF. I'm gonna see if we can find a replay. What happened here? I think it was just a matter of 3 not working.
I think so. It's just 3 into 1 does not go. You can see
on board of the Bradshaw.
A bit of a touch and sent Bradshaw around, and wow, a big accident along Lakeside on the run up to Island Bend. Already, you see that could have been even worse for some of the drivers coming through there.
Meanwhile, this is going on. Looks like David Baum is tucked up to the back of Marco Panero, allowing Aeronom to get a little bit away, and that's allowed Baum to kind of break away from Dantas and Bentham.
He's getting really close at the front end here. Now head round Old Hall on the run down the avenue, through Denton's and then to Cascade, but further down the field, it's action everywhere here. As we've got Antonio Reese, he's hard onto the brakes, coming up behind that Sancinelli in front of him. And surely as he pulls out to the left-hand side, just trying to make the driver look into his mirror as they head along Lakeside now, down to Island Bend, just tucking back up inside, but he needs to be wary of Peter Mazurek right behind him to come hard onto the brakes, down into Shalloy's corner right now, but you're going to want to be at the back of this train because the slipstream effect you're going to get is going to be massive. As we head out, down onto the back straight, past the Britain chicane, which obviously we're not using tonight, along Hilltop, as we ride on board right now with Sancinelli. That is Kurt Nunes in front of us. Come hard on the brakes through Knickerbrook. And nobody able to quite make it work yet, Jonathan.
No, and riding on board with Ed Kerr, we've seen him in a few other series here on Apex Racing TV, and he is a really quick, I would say, AM driver. So, we've seen him race. We've seen him do really well in other series. So I'm interested to see what he does throughout this race. If he can, climb up to where Edvando Dantas is.
So we've got... wow! Big contact. That's down into Old Hall there. And
that's Nunez.
Another driver gone. That's Kurt Nunes. That's going to cost him dearly as he tries to recover the car. Managed to find a gap in traffic that's assisted him to get the car around.
Take a look at that on replay here.
So it's on the run down now to the last corner of Lodge Corner. See what happened.
He just lost it himself.
And the tricky thing for the drivers here, though, Jonathan, is where we've got such a large grid every week, 40 drivers this week. It becomes so tricky to rejoin in the early stages of the races because the pack is so tightly compacted that you end up losing a lot of places. I mean, Kurt Nunes is all the way down in 22nd place behind Stevie Way right now. Cost him dearly.
These cars are also really tough to kind of see out of when you're looking at your mirrors or trying to look side to side. There's not a lot of good vantage points to especially when you're trying to get back on the track at a track like this.
So there's Kurt Nunes on the attack of Stevie Ray, series organizer, as they come down Hilltop. just in the background there. But also, we've got battles happening everywhere. So this is Cantor versus Luero. Cantor looking to just circle up behind him and just utilise all that slipstream that we mentioned about. So crucial to allow overtaking manoeuvres in these cars.
And speaking of slipstream,
here we go. Marco Panero up the inside past championship leader Aero Gnome into Old Hall. And that is for the lead, but look how tightly they are bunched up right now. You could throw a blanket over our top 5 right now. Panero just able to pull out a slight advantage there over Aero Gnome. As they now head along Lakeside through Island Bend. Taking the left there, where there's only really one line through there. And that's hard onto the brakes. Through the banked Shalloyles corner. Everyone tucked right up behind one another. But for me, David Bohm looking the most racy at the moment. He's in third position in this train. Tucked right up behind Aero Gnome. However, Gnome's going to have the slipstream off Panero. Still going to equalise. Can Panero defend his position? As here comes Gnome. Up the inside, down into Knickerbrook. Can he get the move done? And there we go for the race lead. Aero Gnome takes it back again. Half a lap later over Marco Panero. But here comes Bohm. He's on the attack now. I get the feeling this is going to change lots throughout the whole race. As they're all tucked out right behind one another to come through Druid. Now the run down to Lodge Corner as we ride on board with David Bohm. Coming hard on the brakes as we saw that incident earlier on. Kurt Nunes through Lodge Corner. Bit of a tricky corner that one, Jonathan, I tend to find, where it can be quite easy to spin it on corner exit, where it just the undulations just can catch drivers out at times.
Yeah, that's one thing about this track, is that some of the turns you don't realize how tight they are until you actually get halfway through the turn, especially coming up to here. This is, I was driving this earlier prior to the race, on this complex area right here is where I had probably the most difficulty in regards to, finding braking point and finding speed, what speed, to kind of hit the apex with.
It's quite a tricky track. It looks relatively simple, especially the format we're running tonight.
And it's a fun track, don't get me wrong. Very fun track.
We were already saying before the show that we both love driving this track. It's such good fun. Whichever configuration you seem to run off the track. So we go right on board with Eduardo Dantas. You can see Panero's gone to the inside, looking to take the place where Aero Gnome did hit up to him on the last lap, and he gets the move done to head into the lead for now. He's up 2 places from where he started in 3rd place. But this sort of train is starting to drop off. We've lost the cars off the... No, we haven't. Sorry, I thought we'd lost one of the cars off the back of it there. No, all 5 of them still tightly compacted, and it's a long way down to Chris Murakami. He's having an absolutely epic drive. Down in 6th place, the Masters driver. He continues that one on. He's going to bank an absolute ton of points today.
Yeah, potential big points day for Chris Murakami, and also for 2nd place Antonio Reyes in the Masters class. These are 2 of the guys who are consistently fast every year in the Masters class. So nice to see Chris back up there and Antonio back up there. Antonio sometimes can be a little feast or famine. I think he has the highest overall finish for a Masters driver in a race. I think he finished 3rd last season. So he is fast, even though he is in the Masters class, and age doesn't matter. It's how quick you are.
With age comes great knowledge and skill quite often. And those 2 drivers are utilising it today to elevate themselves up the field. Chris Murakami's up 2 places right now. Antonio Reyes up 9. But drive of the day so far is Artur Luero, who's up 15. And also Eisen Jin up 16 places so far. Luero just coming up under a bit of pressure from Jeff Cantor there after his earlier instance, obviously to make him down the field a little bit. But he's on the fight back, on the way up through the field. Go for it. Like a hot knife through butter.
Nice to see some new names in the series this week. Some unfamiliar names, from the past few years. I see Sam Bentham, who's, if that lead pack, he's a newer name. Aiden Campbell, who's currently running in 7th, is a newer name. Laro, who you mentioned as well, new name. So nice to see some fresh faces in the SRF series this weekend.
Definitely, it's a really well supported series, and it just goes to show every week in, week out, it's having, you know, at least 40 drivers out on track. It's just so popular, this series, and with great racing like we've seen so far, and plenty of drama and excitement, it's no wonder why the drivers keep coming back for more, and new faces emerge as they want to be part of the action. But Vanini, he's just coming under a bit of pressure right now from Yuri Cox here, Jonathan.
Yeah, just a little bit last time around. Favini had a 139.71. Cox is a little bit faster with a 139.25. So should be a good battle. And of course, Cox going to have the slipstream, you know.
Yes, he's going to be in, realistically, the place where you want to be, coming out onto a long back straight, where you're going to be tucked up behind someone. And talking of being tucked up behind someone, some Gradwell from
our Masters points leader.
Yeah, he's got Gibson ahead of him, and Gradwell looking quite racy. These drivers have been coming through the pack, obviously assisted a bit earlier on by the sort of the carnage that happened on the formation lap. But here comes Gradwell. He's lining Gibson up. Just
he's going to tuck back in.
Just seems to, I'm sure I heard him lift there and just elect to tuck back in behind Gibson.
Yeah, smart move. There's, you know, they're not. No, I don't think it was that close to Gibson as well. So, you know, just smart. Just play it safe. It's a long race. You know, we still have about, you know, 25 minutes or so to go. So just let it play out.
So yeah, already third of the race has been completed. Top 5 right now is Aerano, Marco Pinero, David Bohm, Fardo Dantas, and Sam Bentham. Still tightly compacted at the front as well. That's one of them running wide and taking a trip across the grass.
That's Dantas.
Oh, that's cost him dearly, and he's going to. That's number 21. That's one of the back markers. Has got past him there. Boys, that could have cost him really, really dearly, but he's fallen off the back of this train right now. So what was 5 has
Take a look at
4.
what happened here with Eduardo.
So this is on the run down to Cascades. Just missing his braking point. Oh, yeah, you see a big twitch of Avis there. Had to correct it. That took him out onto the grass, and then a long way out. He was nearly so far off the track he needed his passport there. He was that far away from it. But
yeah, that's one thing about this track is that if you get caught in the grass in certain areas, you are going for a long ride. There's some pretty big runoffs, especially in that area.
But at least it does have the advantage, though, Jonathan, whereby, you know, with those large runoff areas, you're not colliding with a barrier that's, you know, relatively close to the track, as, you know, especially through this sort of section, you know, in the latter half of the lap, through, you know, from Druids down to Lodge, Deer Leap, and on the run up to Old Hall Corner. You know, you've got a chance to recover the car and not take really any damage to the car.
No, for sure. That's the last thing you want is, you know, putting damage onto the car. So we look at the battle here for 7th between Campbell, Race, and Mayer.
These battles up and down the field as always here on the SRF Weekend Warriors series. Who's going to come out on top in this little battle right now? Not going to be. It's going to be interesting to see as well with how pit strategy plays out tonight. The slipstream is so crucial around here, and if you find yourself in a pocket of space, you could find yourself losing a chunk of time where you haven't got someone to buddy up with to drag each other along.
And big picture right here, right in front of them is Chris Murakami. So Antonio might be best off just staying behind Campbell for a little bit, work together, as he says that as he pulls out.
Here they go, on the run down to Knickerbrook, and that has got him up ahead of Reese. He's got ahead of Campbell as he bumps across the curb there on the corner exit. Come underneath the bridge on the run up to on the run through water up to Druids. And Reese actually pulling away now from Aidan Campbell and getting a bit of clear air as they run down to Lodge Corner right now. But as they come into the braking zone, you see that gap really starting to compress up. Who's going to get the best exit off the corners? That's number 21 off track there. Taking a bit of a scenic tour towards the barrier. It's getting really, really close. This freeway battle all the way, it was over 7th place. You know, you think almost like, it's like they're battling for the lead, really, in some ways.
You know, and as we go along, as we look at Chris Murakami, our current Masters class leader, Antonio Race is getting closer and closer and closer. So what Chris really needs to do right now is tuck up to Eduardo Dantas so he can, get a catch on to his draft.
At least, it's playing into Murakami's hands here, where obviously Dantas had that, large correction had to save the car as he runs very wide out of Shell Oils there. This has gifted Chris Murakami in, the time to be into his slipstream. So they run across Hilltop, and then it's the downhill section. Here they come on the run down to Knickerbrook. Murakami tucks up incredibly close behind Dantas right now. Chris Murakami, you can almost smell blood. He can taste the next place ahead of him, can't he? He's visually right in front of him, and he's really applying the pressure onto Dantas right now. And this is probably the last thing that Dantas is going to be wanting, because if he has to start defending to Murakami, he's just going to watch that top 4 getting further and further away from him.
There's a little bit of, hey, we got to get going here. Come on, let's get going. Hurry up. I have the guy who's currently in second behind me in my class behind me. Let's pick up the pace.
Off camera, Aeronum, he's managed to get past Marco Pinero to take the lead of this 4-car train, but right now it only really seems to be those two drivers are swapping positions. Bowman and Bentham seem to be happy just to be sat in 3rd and 4th and coming along for the ride with these two drivers.
Yeah, these guys they're willing to just, make safe passes right now, tuck in behind each other. As we know with this series, Tim, it all comes down to pit stops. Who's gonna blink first? Who's gonna react to it? Who's gonna overcut? Who's gonna undercut? So these guys are just really right now, it seems like they're content. We'll just ride around, we'll pass each other when it's clean and easy, and we'll just go off into the distance and then really duke it out when we get to the pits.
I think that is where it's going to play a large part in the tale tonight. It's going to be that pit strategy. Stevie Ray's had a bit of an incident off camera some ways. Didn't qualify to his, what you'd say is normal standards really, and he's currently down in 30th. A lap off the lead lap now. So 1 lap down for him, unfortunately. But this battle is really starting to heat up. Oh, no, we've got contact! Contact there, Bohm just tapping the back end of Marco Pinero. And that has made him drop right off the back of that group, top group right now. And Aeronome has now got clean air to be able to pull away from the rest of the go. Let's see what happened. So you see, he's almost trying to make the overtake on Gnome there. And maybe just a touch of outbreaking himself from David Bohm there.
Yeah, it's probably nothing intentional. Looks like David just got a little bit into the back of him, which caused Pinero to turn around, which completely commentator cursed me in the sense I was going to bring up what Pinero was going to do in regards to pit stops, especially with slipstreaming and no Mauricio Naselli, no teammate this week to kind of work with him on. So my thought just completely went out the window, Tim.
That's all right, don't worry. I think it just looked like David Bohm was just expecting Pinero to take that more inside line, as it looked like he was mounting the challenge on Gnome down into Lodge Corner there, and all of a sudden, heading back across, and was maybe expecting he could brake a little bit later. But there you go, you can see the gap. Sam Bentham, the Brit, is elevating himself up 9 places. He's now in 2nd place, but right now, he's heading away into the distance. That gap is 1.9 seconds right now. But here we go. We've got the battle bit further behind, and Reese and Campbell, they've managed to catch up onto the back of Murakami and Dantas right now.
You have your Spec 2 leader, your Masters leader, and your second place in the Masters class as well in this battle. So this is going to be a fun one to watch.
It is definitely, and I'm sure it's going to be as tight as what we've seen from the, well, what was the top 4, but technically they still are. But obviously they're a bit more spaced out after that incident, but right now these guys, they're the closest battle on track as Sancinelli. He's the first driver of sort of the top group to break in to the pits. Bit of an early stop, going for a half race distance. We've seen the drivers, Jonathan, leave it a lot later from that in this championship. Even some drivers leaving it down to the last couple of laps to take their pit stops. And
everyone has a different way of doing it. I know in the chat a few weeks ago, they called one of the drivers, I think Yang Shi Lin, who usually is watching, who races this series, called going into the pits early, really early, a Stevie Ray. So, which I found kind of funny. But then you have guys who are late, and then sometimes guys, as we saw what happened last week with Marco Panero, who don't put enough fuel in it. As we watch Murakami.
Under attack. Here comes Murakami trying to go around the outside into Nickerbrook there, but Murakami needs to be careful because right behind him is Antonio Reis, and they're getting really, really close right now. Reis needs to be careful himself. Aiden Campbell, the American, looming in the background there at the back of this train, just looking to hook it up, looking to pick up any sort of scraps as Dantas goes defensive. What's going to happen here is they're almost going to go 2 by 2 into the last corner. Somehow they all emerge out the other side safe. But here comes Campbell. He's got past Antonio and Reis. He's managed to pick off one of the drivers. And Reis, he's gone from being on the attack and looking to try to get past Murakami. If we just look back from Dantas right now. And all of a sudden he's lost the place to Campbell, who's picked his pocket there.
Yeah, it almost seems like a little bit like Dantas is kind of slowing this group up. Looking at the lap times, I mean, they're all kind of around the same, but it just seems like on pace that Dantas is just a tick slower, but it's not enough that Murakami and Campbell and Reis can get around him pretty quickly.
No, it's not, and it's so much so. We've got Simon Mayer in that grey spec racer. He's now joined the battle, so what was a two-way battle between Dantas and Murakami, as here comes Murakami. He's going to try that outside line yet again. Dantas, he's already headed to the inside, on the run, down the hill, towards Nickerbrook. Hold tight, everyone. Here we go. Can Murakami get it around the outside? He can't. He backs out of it. That allows Dantas now to keep hold of his position, but they need to be careful. They're all trying to go defensive. They're all trying to cover each other off here right now as they come through Druids. And Murakami, he's now got Campbell right over the back of him. And as you say, Jonathan, here we go, Murakami going for it again. He's got the inside.
He has to get it now. He has to.
Campbell's going to look to try and follow him through. Can Dantas hold on to that position, or is he going to lose two? It looks like it's going to be the latter of those. As Campbell, he's going to have the inside line into turn 1. And can he get the move done? Yes, he can. He slots it up the inside. And surely that's going to release Murakami and Campbell.
Meanwhile,
right now,
Antonio Reis ducked into the pits during that time period.
Obviously try to just get away, try to get in some fresh
get me out of here.
Get away. So is Simon Mayer as well off that group of what was 5 is now down to 3 with those 2 drivers pitting.
Yeah, definitely. Race probably saw those getting potentially a little too spicy, so great time to pit.
Of course, those 2 drivers we're pitting at the same time are going to be able to work together to pull themselves back through the field. Coming out relatively close together. However, they have got Cantor and Arthur Lujero in amongst the middle of them. But right now, this is getting close between Panero and Bohm. So we saw that slight coming together down into Lodge Corner. The last corner of the lap. They'll be hoping that does not happen again.
Let's take a look at how Panero passed Bohm that time. Did Panero use any chrome horn? Ooh, looks like he
No, so I think Bump just ran just a tiny
Did
bit wide.
Did Panero run him a little wide?
I'm not too sure. It was a bit hard to tell from that camera angle.
We will. Let's see. Let's see if we can work some magic here and pull it up. Pull up a different camera. So stand by.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see as Murakami and Dantas, they've now had it to the pits. So that 5-way battle is now just down to Aiden Campbell. He's by himself.
So here's the replay from the chopper. Oh, he gave him a little chrome horn, right there.
Gave him a bit of a nudge, and that was just enough to unsettle Bohm. So he maybe feeling a bit aggrieved, Panero, the Italian, after that incident down at Lodge Corner. And he's now managed to get past the German. Now in front as, there we go, Dantas and Murakami heading out of the pits.
And this will cycle Flavini.
Let's have a look. Where are they going to come out in amongst them? But Antonio Race, it looks, and Mayer as well. Looks like they've got the jump on those two at the round of pit stops. Yeah, they've managed to get ahead of them. That's an absolutely brilliant outlap from those guys, and it just shows how much they're being held up there potentially as well.
Yeah, Murakami he's now back and forth with Cantor, Race, and Gradwell in front of him. So Murakami's gonna have some work to do.
Definitely, it's I mean, real big gainer has been Simon Mayer out of that little group, as Murakami's got a few cars behind him, Fuller and Loero behind him, but they're locked into their own battle as our leader has headed to the pits. Aero known from first place. Panero's also headed in as well, so that's two of your top four. What could Sam Benton do? What could David Bohm do? Can they have better in-laps than what those, Bohm and Gnome and Panero have as outlets? There's also Campbell's headed to the pits as well.
Yeah, they're going to have to really lay down some Bohm and Bentham McGriff, lay down some quick laps right now, because as we've seen, Panero and Nom are just blazingly quick. Nom's a real, tactician in regards to pit strategy, and they have already both exited the pits. So we see Aero Nom, and now Marco Panero is not too far.
Headed to the pits. Favini, Gibson, and Gradwell and Loera have all headed to the pits right now to take their stop. Just coming up to quarter of the race left to go. It's definitely going to be interesting once all these pit stops have sort of sorted themselves out and reshuffled around to see where they all come out. But Dantas, he's looking like he's got Murakami and also Fuller, who's been a big gainer out of the pit stops. So right behind him. And it just feels like it's going from bad to worse for Dantas. Obviously, falling out from that top group, and right now he's under attack from 9th and 10th place.
Yeah, but he still has Dantas still has the Spec 2 lead. Santinelli is a little bit ways behind him in the Frito Sports Spec Racer. And as we look at talking about pit stops, our top two have just entered.
Okay, how is this going to shape the battle for the lead? Can Aero Nom extend his lead out in the front? There you go, he's coming out of Lodge Corner. As Bentham's, he's on the pit
Bentham's
exit right
out.
now, so is the bomb. What could happen? There you go, you see on the right-hand side of your screen, there's Aero Nom. And there we go, he's come through clear now. Before the pit stops, it was about a 1.8 second lead. That is going to be roughly about the same as well. So, not able to really make any time, but David Bohm, he's managed to capitalise out of it. And jumping Sam Bentham in the pit stops there, and actually looking at it, Bentham, the Brit, was stationary for 2 seconds longer than what David Bohm was.
Yeah, maybe it's something new with Bentham being new to the series and not understanding the fuel strategy or not getting it just right, like we see Baum and Nom get it on a consistent basis. So maybe it's that newness that he's getting used to. But if he comes back, he'll work it out, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. And if it's tonight's anything to go by, he's definitely going to be one driver to watch out for in this series, for sure. But Antonio Reese, he's a little pocket of space right now. Nice battle. This is all the way down over 18th place. Bobby West, Vogel, and Kuhn. Oh, where's Vogel just getting a little bit deep there, down into Cascades, but he seems to have got a decent exit off it. And West is that gap between himself and Vogel, that is starting to shrink ever so slightly. As they come around Island Bend and now head down to Shalloyle's corner.
Jump back up to see Chris Murakami and Vado Dantas and see if they can kind of pull each other back up to Campbell and Mayer. I mean, I don't know if Murakami will have time to get up to Antonio Race unless something insane happens, but never say never. It's Spec Racer 4. It's Weekend Warriors. Things happen. As we saw early in the race, we saw carnage before the green flag even dropped.
We did indeed, and we've seen it literally decided in the last corner of the last lap. Position for places, and Campbell is a bit of a way up the road, but you wouldn't discredit him. But Antonio Rice, wow, up 12 places so far tonight. It's a Portuguese driver, and in a little pocket of space, he's got Panera is way up the road from him. We're at about 10 seconds clear, so I don't think he's, with 7 minutes left to go, he's not going to be catching him. However, can Mayer, the German, can he close up the gap? He's only 1.7 seconds down the road. You can see him further back, but he has Aidan Campbell for company. And as we've seen, as the race starts to come towards the end, we start to see more and more bolder moves from the drivers. Going for stuff they wouldn't have gone for in prior laps, where they start to become a bit more braver on the brakes. The cars being as light as they will ever be during the race. The track as rubbered in as it ever will be. And look how close these two are right now. Campbell, literally the front of his car nearly touching the gearbox there of Mayer. As we look back from the gearbox, you can see just how close he's getting. You can practically see inside that front air intake there. And I think this is going to get even more closer as the race goes on.
Yeah, and also remember, who might be saving fuel? Who took a really quick pit stop and said, maybe I have to feather the throttle a little bit.
Because Reese didn't get the best of exit. He ran wide a little bit through Cascades. And look, wow, just how close they are right now. As they come through Island Bend, run down to Shell Oils. May have just gone defensive there, and Campbell getting on the inside. Wow, what a move! May just out braking himself a little bit there, and May just able to slip it up the inside. But it's going to leave. He's going to be have to defend here to come across Hilltop, run down to Knickerbrook, and these two are incredibly close. Mayer right onto the back. It's his turn to be on the gearbox of Campbell. And right behind them as well, Dantas, he's managed to get past Murakami into Knickerbrook as well. These two drivers have been trading places for most of the race, and they still continue to do. We've only got 5 minutes left. I just get the feeling, Jonathan, they're going to swap places probably at least twice more.
They're going to swap places a few times, and the person who's going to love seeing these two battle is going to be Antonio Race. He's going to love seeing Chris Murakami battle with Edvando Dantas, because it's going to give him time to pull away and take that really well-deserved Masters Class victory. And poor Chris Murakami is going to see Edvando Dantas in his sleep for the next week, because I feel like he's been stuck behind him, or behind him pretty much most of this race.
Definitely. You mentioned obviously Antonio Reese. He's roughly just coming to 5 seconds clear of that battle between Dantas and Murakami. But Marco Panero, Sam Benson's not letting him go right now. It's only 4 tenths separating these two drivers as they fight it out for the last place on the podium here at round 5 at Oulton Park. They run down to Knickerbrook. They come hard onto the brakes. Just happy to follow behind one another right now as they come up the hill there. But Kurt Nunes, he's been on a bit of a recovery drive and finds himself currently in 23rd place with John Payne, who, another driver who's sort of fallen down the order a little bit tonight, and just maybe we're not quite in the sort of positions that we would expect to see these two drivers tonight.
Yeah, these are guys that had some issues at the beginning of the race. Nice to see them kind of bounce back and battled out through the field for sure.
So,
Dantas
he's off track. He's off track, and that's allowed Murakami to get through. And somehow, I'm not sure what.
We will take a look.
Maybe just ran wide there, Jonathan. Let's take a look at what happened. So, this is on the run up Clay Hill. As they come through Oulton and through Druids. Just got it wide on the exit. Yeah, just missed the apex.
Yeah.
And that was enough to send him wide and give Murakami the place. Murakami up into 8th place now.
Bit of an unforced error there by Dantas.
It was a little bit. And another driver who's not had the best of luck tonight and maybe just overdriving the car a little bit, as Murakami was really starting to turn up the pressure on him, and it's cost him dearly there. Just the missing the apex there has sent him wide and out onto the grass. It was well held from him to not send the car spinning and potentially caused a collision between himself and Murakami, but it's a little bit surprising for it seems the driving we've seen from Dantas so far this season. But Aeronome, we've hardly mentioned him this week. Look, he's 4 seconds clear of David Bohm in 2nd place. Panero's 3rd currently, but how much longer for? Benson's closing in behind them as we've got some...
Bohm! That was David Bohm.
Hey, David Bohm. He's run wide as well now as they take... Is that the... It's only the white flag there, isn't it? That's okay.
Let's take a quick look quickly, see what happened with David Bohm.
This is down into Lodge Corner. See how braked himself. He wasn't under pressure at all.
Oh!
No. Big tank slapper. He corrected it and well held. But that has allowed Bentham and Panero to come through. And we're saying, could Bentham get himself onto the podium? Well, he is right now. Let's see them come through Shaloyle's corner there in a league of his own tonight.
Big shout out to Bentham.
Clear.
Big shout out to Bentham. What a drive.
What a debut drive. It has been spectacular for him, and it's not over yet. There's still a chance for him to take 2nd place and the silver medal here tonight at round 5. Just there's no heading through Knickerbrook for the final time. But what can happen behind him? Can Bentham get ahead? Can something else happen? Boney's tucked up right behind him. Can he capitalise? We've seen so many mistakes through Druids and into Lodge Corner, the last 2 corners on the track. Panero just negotiates it. Hitting the apex there. It's going to come down to that last corner as Aeronome comes through said last corner. Down the hill, round Deer Leap, and across the line. Aeronome wins round 5 at Oulton Park. But what's going to happen in this battle behind? Can David Bohm, can he just snatch that last place on the podium right at the death from Bentham? No. He crossed the line side by side, and somehow Bentham just manages to keep on to that position and earn himself, rightfully so I think, on his debut, a place on the podium. Coming home in 3rd, Antonio Race, taking that victory in Masters. Coming 5th is Dantas. He's headed to
he's going to the pits. Is he gonna... Yeah, he made it in. He made it in.
But why not just roll the car across the line? All you need to do is just cross the line.
Did he know it was the last lap?
Bit of a strange one there, but still got battles happening. As this is for 17th place, we've got Favini, Payne, Vogel, all clambering over one another. They've only got 1 corner left to go. It's hard onto the brakes. Down into Lodge Corner. But Payne and Vogel. They're going to go side by side maybe, but no, somehow Payne just manages to get the better exit off the corner and keeps hold of that 18th place. There's another car's coming across the line right now, and wow, what a flurry of activity there, Jonathan. We said, you know, quite often we see races decide on the last corner of the last lap, and yet again,
it happens.
It's happened here.
It happens as we get our final standings. So, Tim, if you want to take it away with our race results.
Definitely. Well, it's not a surprise. Aerono makes it 4 wins from 5 so far this season for the Estonian. Marco Panero comes home in second, and Sam Benton, what a debut drive for the Brit. Only 3rd place and a place on the podium. David Bowman gonna feel a little bit unlucky, just crossing the line 300ths of a second behind Benton to get into 4th. Antonio Race comes home in 5th place and earning that victory in Masters. Then we've got Aidan Campbell is 6th, so Mayer is 7th. Chris McCarmy, brilliant drive from him, is 8th. Sacinelli's 9th. Yuri Cox is 10th. Tom Gradwell 11th. Ken Batley is 12th. Gibson 13th. Fuller, West Dantas. So I'm just heading to the pits there, strangely, on the very last lap. It comes home in 16th. Favini and John Payne is 17th and 18th. We see the drivers just take their traditional
Demo derby
on the after the race has finished. Gradwell comes home in 11th. Batley, Gibson, Fuller, West, Dantas, Favini, John Payne, Vogel, and Kuhn running out the top 20. That's Paolo Brain, Cantor, Luero, Forster, Burkitt, Tustings, Jin, Bradshaw, Stevie Ray, and Kurt Nunes rounding out your top 30. Then it's McGill, Jackson, Carter, Mizurek, finishing 80 on that sound, getting into obviously the retired drivers now. And then Logan, Adrian, Butanga, and Steve Elson. Also, and not forgetting James Guinness and Henrik Kamara rounding out your field.
So,
wow.
Tim, looks like we have our Masters class winner in the waiting area. Yeah, bring him in. If you want to talk to our Masters class winner, Antonio Reyes, go for it.
Congratulations. 5th place overall at the winning Masters.
Hello, good night. Can you listen me?
Yep.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, I think I got a 5th place, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, cool. I think I got the winner of the masterclass as well.
You did indeed. It was a brilliant drive from you tonight.
Okay, thank you guys. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad to be there. Yeah, I'm happy to have this race. It was a cool one. Yeah.
I mean, is Oulton one of the tracks that you feel stronger at?
It's the opposite. It's I feel the weakest on that track, but somehow I got kind of managing to be, finishing on 5th place, and I don't know how.
So obviously your rival in Masters, Chris Murakami, he came home in 8th place, and obviously that's going to give you a nice amount of points. And I'm just trying to look at it now. I think it's going to take you ahead of Chris Murakami in the Masters Championship as we head to round 6.
I suppose Chris have one less race than me. And then so when get the 9 races of 12 with the drop 3 races, I think he's going to be in front of me.
No problem. So obviously next time out we are at so round 6 is coming from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. How are you feeling about that one?
I'm going to be there, very easy with no aim, no goal, just having fun to be with the guys together. That's all I want.
Brilliant, brilliant. So thank you for joining us, Antonio. Is there anyone you want to say hello
you very
to or
much.
give a shout out to at all?
Yeah, you know, for the TV and the organizers and for the sponsors of this series and for you guys for broadcasting, for everyone watching and for the racers, for the drivers and for my family. Anyway, everyone, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Antonio Race finished 5th there and winner in Masters class. Now, Jonathan, next driver we're going to hear from will be Sam Bentham. So, we'll just bring him across into the commentary box. Here he is, Sam Bentham. Wow, what a debut drive. Earning a place on the podium. Incredibly tight, only by 2 tenths. So 200ths even.
I was going to say, I thought it was less than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what a drive from yourself on your debut.
I'm pretty happy, of course. You know, qualifying was quite tough. The toe is worth an awful lot around here, and I just couldn't. I didn't find a consistent toe until like my final quali lap, and then I made a mess of the double right. I don't know what the names of the corners are, to be honest. I made a mess. Sorry.
That's okay. I think that's double right in the last part of the lap through. Druids. Yeah, that's Druids.
Yeah, so Druids. I made a right mess of that, and so that cost me kind of 4 tenths and put me. I think I'd have probably qualified 4th if I hadn't made a mess of that. I think I calculated it as, and then it's like, well, I've got to get a good launch, and I actually ended up 5th by turn 1 from 11th on the grid. So races aren't won in turn 1, but they can make some positions. So no, it's pretty good. And then it's basically then, to be honest, the guys, you know, the other guys in the top league group were probably a bit quicker than me overall, so it's just a case of basically I sit there and I wait and I hope one of them makes a mistake, and one of them did, so I inherited a podium position.
Well, I mean, you say you inherited. I mean, you know, you had to stay on their coattails to be there to capitalise, and yeah, I mean, it was getting incredibly close between yourself and Marco Pinero, who finished just ahead of you. I mean, obviously, if we came to the very last sort of stages of the race, did you feel like you know, might be able to pull a move on him at all?
I was ready to send it. If I got an opportunity, but I could never quite get close enough, to be honest. That Marco is extremely fast. And there was one time, like 3 laps to go, where I could have made a move into Druids actually, but it's. From the couple of races I've done in kind of officials this week, it seems like if you are just ahead of someone who's a bit quicker than you on the final lap, you're a sitting duck in the toe. You just can't maintain the position at all. So you kind of have to decline the opportunity to go through and then wait. And then, but with Marco, it's yeah, I didn't get the chance because he got a better exit than me out of the hairpin at the bottom. So yeah, I didn't get the opportunity, but thankfully with 2 laps to go, unfortunately David ran wide at the final corner, and that gave me.
I know it was, even then it was still incredibly tight, that run to the line. And can we expect to see you next week as we head to Canadian Time Motorsport Park for round 6?
For sure, one of my favourite tracks actually. So I hadn't actually raced at Oulton Park before this week, so yeah, I'm very pleased. But Motorsport is one of my favourite tracks from another card. So
as Oulton's one of the 3 circuits on iRacing, and also being a Brit, I'm slightly shocked to hear that one, and you'd never guess that you've never really raced here before, based on your performance. But is there anyone you want to, give a shout out to or say thanks to?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of my friends have been doing it this week. It's actually John Tusting, who's a regular here, who's been nagging me to try this car, and I actually tried it first time the other week at Red Bull Ring, and it's fantastic racing and a really great community. So thanks to John and to the other guys in the chat. They know who they are for kind of encouraging me, and as I always do whenever I talk to anyone on broadcast, I like to thank my partner for her support. She's very, very tolerant of me spending absurd amounts of time sitting in the simulator, so I'm very grateful. And my mum as well, who actually seems to watch all my races these days and seems to be my biggest fan. So thanks, Mum, and hope you encourage you to keep watching.
Oh, definitely brilliant.
Love it.
Congratulations, Sam, and we shall see you in a week's time.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. So next driver we'll be hearing from, it's that man again, Aeronom. It's 4 race wins from 5 so far this season. Wow, yet another great performance from you, Aero.
Yeah, this one was really difficult. It's so much tough in this track. It's easy to stay behind. So the mistake was my opportunity.
Yeah, we saw you sort of, trading places with Panero quite early on, whereas your rivals just seemed to be sort of happy to sit behind you. I mean, were you sort of more comfortable being in second place rather than being in first place?
Yeah, definitely. But I knew David was saving fuel, and his pit stop will be much shorter. So basically, I was sitting duck, and the mistake was, I think, the only thing that saved me this race. But yeah, who knows? It definitely changed everything when the mistake happened. I just pushed out after that.
So obviously, with the 4 race victories from 5, I know we still got a large, chunk of the season left to go. I mean, surely you've got to be feeling, an air of confidence to make it 4 championship titles.
Yeah, but it still will be very difficult. Next track, I heard it's more sport, so draft track again, even more speed, overspeed, more draft. So yeah, it will be more difficult than here.
I mean, just talking about motorsport, how do you feel about that track? Is it one of the tracks that you're stronger at, or I mean, dare I say it, could we see someone really take the challenge and maybe even nick that victory, take that victory from you?
I think it will be very tactical, technical. It's impossible to get away unless somebody makes mistakes, but even then it's that long back straight uphill, so yeah, it's almost impossible to get away.
Aero, you've talked in the past, maybe a few weeks ago, that you didn't feel like you were gelling with this car. Has that changed, or do you still feel that way?
No, it's still almost same. Just have to practice more to get the feeling. Yeah, it's, I don't know, every week it changes track to track so much. It's yeah, just practice.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations, Aero, and anyone you want to say thanks to or give a shout out to at all?
Yeah, like I always like to thank the league admins, the sponsors, and the drivers, and you guys in the booth.
Aeronom, race victor and leader within the championship. Wow, Jonathan, that is yet again another feast for the eyes here on Apex Racing TV in the SRF Weekend Warriors series.
Yeah, just another great week with battles up and down the field. We had a little bit of carnage. We had some great drives from guys, climbing up and down. We saw an amazing Masters class battle, and we saw Aeronom once again do what he does, just complete SRF driver.
Yeah, another race victories. We mentioned 4 race victories from 5 to this so far this season. It's definitely going to be interesting as we head next week to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and it's definitely going to be an interesting one. That now, to stay up to date with everything that's happening here on Apex, you can do so. You can follow us on, obviously give us a like and subscribe on YouTube, but also you can head across to Twitter, where we are at Apex Racing TV. Facebook is facebook.com/Apex Racing TV, and then Instagram is Apex Racing TV. Big thanks to, obviously, the sponsors for this series, RaceVoice, and we very much look forward to seeing you again in a week's time at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. If you can't wait another week, right now on the channel we've got the IGP F3 Fun. That is funnily the track that we're heading to next week, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And then a little bit later on, we've got, in about 3 hours time, is the XSLR Off-Road Pro Series. And then tomorrow evening we have got the Apex Racing League Mazda Cup. That's round 3 from Bathurst. That's going to be very, very interesting to see how the drivers get on across the top of the mountain, and I'm sure there's going to be a few incidents involved in that one. And then Tuesday night we head to the Auto Club for round 6 of the IndyCar Open Series. From myself and Jonathan, thank you very much and good night.